it mean to witness war but never fight in it? To freeze a moment of unimaginable pain and bring it home to a world that scrolls past it with a shrug? In this video, we're diving into Carol Ann Duffy's haunting poem, War Photographer, exploring the man behind the lens, the woman behind the words, and the emotional distance between suffering and spectatorship. Carol Ann Duffy was born in 1955 in Glasgow, in a working-class area called the Gorbals. She rose to become the UK's first female poet laureate and is now a professor of contemporary poetry at Manchester Metropolitan University. War Photographer was written in 1985, about a decade after the end of the Vietnam War. The poem is believed to be inspired by Duffy's conversations with two of her friends, renowned war photographers Don McCullin and Philip Jones Griffiths. Griffiths in particular covered the Vietnam War and was known for his powerful images of civilian suffering. But what is a war photographer? Think of them as photojournalists who go into conflict zones, sometimes on assignment, sometimes independently, to document the brutal realities of war. Their images often appear in news magazines or photo essays, with little or no written explanation. The photograph must do the storytelling. As the saying goes, a picture has to paint 1,000 words. In the poem, we meet a nameless photographer who has returned home to develop images from his recent assignment. The locations mentioned, Belfast, Beirut, Phnom Penh, are more than just names. They are epicenters of brutal civilian-heavy conflicts. Northern Ireland's troubles, Lebanon's civil war, and Cambodia's genocide under the Khmer Rouge. These references are no coincidence. Each site represents mass human suffering, and Duffy is pointing to the emotional weight carried by those who witness it through a lens. Though the photographer in the poem isn't named, it's hard not to draw parallels with Philip Jones Griffiths. In 1966, Griffiths struggled to sell his photos of Vietnamese civilians to US outlets. Why? Because his images didn't fit the official narrative. They show humanity, suffering, not the faceless, dangerous enemy the public expected. This sentiment echoes in Duffy's line, "They do not care." It speaks not just to editors or governments, but to us, the viewers. How much do we really care about the suffering we glimpse between sips of our morning coffee? The reader's eyeballs prick with tears between the bath and pre-lunch beers. There it is, a fleeting emotional response, a tear perhaps, but then it's back to our routines, the bath, the beer, the brunch. The emotional chasm between the viewer and the subject is stark. These photos captured at great personal risk are skimmed for a few seconds before we move on with our day. Duffy doesn't just point fingers, she holds up a mirror. In verse 2, she contrasts war-torn regions with rural England. Home again to ordinary pain, which simple weather can dispel. To fields which don't explode beneath the feet of running children. It's a brilliant juxtaposition. While children in Cambodia flee napalm attacks, children in England run freely through meadows. Their biggest complaint, the heat of the summer. Duffy uses the phrase nightmare heat, ironically, reminding us how out of touch such complaints can be when compared with real trauma. This contrast also nods to one of the most famous images of the Vietnam War, a young girl running naked, screaming in pain after a napalm strike. That single photo changed public opinion, but how many others went unseen, unprinted or ignored? In the final stanza, the photographer returns to his work, perhaps numbed by it, perhaps driven by it. We are left wondering, who carries the heavier burden? The person who experiences trauma firsthand, or the one who must constantly witness and record it, knowing that most people will look away? Carol Ann Duffy doesn't give us easy answers, but through War Photographer, she asks the questions we all need to think about. If this breakdown gave you a new lens through which to view poetry, give it a like, share it with your classmates, and subscribe for more literary deep dives.